Salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. V back with another casted game of Age of Empires 3, and we are here on Darfur. Darfur? This map for an Iberian smackdown between two prestigious players, because in the south of the map, playing in the color red as the Spanish, we have the mighty Grogu. And I don't know how often he plays Spain. I don't know if that's like his main squeeze of a Civ. Honestly, I don't catch a lot of Grogu games on the ladder. So when I saw this one, I knew I had to play. I know he plays some Aztec, but I feel like every high-level player plays Aztec because they're so freaking good. But he is going with the early trading post, of course, which Spanish player doesn't, and probably going to pick up this 100 XP. Ooh, that's so good for Spain. They already have an exponential XP curve. Oh, wow. That was very literate of me. And that's just going to speed up the process. Let's take a look at the deck. Very standard Spanish deck. He's got a lot of upgrades. 1, 2, 3, 4 in Age 2 alone, and then another 2 in Age 3. And we're going to be seeing some buffed rods and some even more buffed hussars and lancers most likely. Meanwhile, his opponent, playing in the north of the map as the color blue and as the Portuguese, we have Swisher, who I do say with confidence that Port is his main squeeze. The guy plays a ton of Portugal, and why can you blame him? Portugal is so good, and wow, talk about a different deck. This is a greedy 10-10, ladies and gentlemen. Only 5 cards in the first 2 ages, no 700 wood, no town militia, no 8 crossbows, nothing like that. Just a couple of upgrades for his eco, 6 musks, and the 700 coin, along with Vatorias, of course. And then it is all stacked in Age 3 and 4. He's got the 24 Akin allies. He's got the El Mete. He's got the factories. He's got horse artillery. He's got the 5 organ guns. He's even got the passage to Nippon in Age 3, which I cannot remember the last time I saw that card, but he is also going with the early trading post, as is standard for Portugal. Not going to get that house up, and is going to immediately go up to Age 2. Look at that, 2 minutes 30, and he's already about a third of the way aged with the Philosopher Prince. Meanwhile, if we take a look at Grogu, he is not aging yet. He's actually still got about 100 food left. So this is an incredibly quick transition by Swisher. Of course, that is going to come at a cost of only having 10 villagers. I'm guessing he's going to collect that 100 coin, and then he's going to immediately send the 700 coin as well, switch all of his vills over to food. Has not started herding yet, which could play a bit of a problem for him if it gets to the mid and late game. And we'll have to see how Spain reacts if he goes for any sort of aggression in Age 2, or if he follows up with an FF of his own. Now, granted, it will not be as fast. There's really no way he'll be able to catch up. However, he will have a better economy. And so we'll see what he has sent. Already 3 settlers in capitalism, totally standard. Maybe he goes for something a little bit boomy. Maybe he tries to sneak in 700 wood or 5 villagers before the 700 coin. I mean, he's got 2 shipments all ready to go. He's gathering wood, probably going to lay down that 3rd trading post. I like how he immediately went for the middle, which is going to make securing 2 out of the 3 teepees a lot easier for him. And it's not going to allow Swisher to try to come and steal it. But look at this town center wagon being quite aggressive for what looks to be an FI. This is a very bold TC wagon. It's still going. Where is this thing off to? And has Grogu spotted it? I don't know if he did or not. He may have seen it. But, I mean, it looks like Swisher already in Age 2. 700 coin almost arriving, and oh my god, that is so bold. Look at where that TC is going, just north of Grogu's base. Now, I'm not really sure why this placement. I guess he's trying to cut off the 3rd mine. Maybe he just wants to go for a super aggressive FF and just be right on top of Grogu's town. He is kind of cutting off one of these herds, but I don't know if I love that placement. I almost think that the middle of the map would still be better. And look at this, stable and a forward outpost coming out from Grogu. So both of these players being aggressive in the opposite direction. So we're not really going to see the usual fight over the middle of the map that we might see in other games. And it does look like Grogu is going to start with the 700 wood and then the 700 coin, getting his steel traps up. Probably already got his hunting dogs and his placer mines. Meanwhile, no market from Swisher at all. This is so naked. Like, I mean, one house, one TC, one trading post, and that is it. Already going up to H3 with the Exiled Prince, and this guy's going to probably make it before the 6-minute 15, maybe even earlier. That is so fast. God, the port 1010 is still so strong. I don't think it's as strong as it used to be, or maybe it just was never as OP as people said, but God, is it quick. And it looks like Grogu getting his second herd in. That's going to be important. And we'll have to see what Swisher goes for. Is he going to go for goons and Cassadors, or is he going to go with more of the Halb organ guns? I like Halb organ gun myself when I play port, which is not often. I feel like it's a little bit more versatile in terms of siege damage, where Cassadors and Dragoons are nice, but you're really just not able to push into your opponent's base. Some Hussars trying to get some raiding in. The problem is there's really just not a lot of Vils around to raid. There's only 13, and they're all quite safe under the TC. And, ooh, some decent herding here by Swisher. He's killed a lot of these animals, though. A lot of that food is going to degrade, especially if these Hussars continue to pressure. And, ooh, even 8 pikes coming out. He is zooming for that trading post. And he is going to take that down, maybe use it to transition into Stagecoach. Excuse me. And let's see what else is going down. A barracks and the third TC going right next to the second one. He is building a fortress here, and 8 halberdiers immediately being slammed out. Maybe going to be trying to do some early damage. Oh, maybe he can catch this barracks. It looks like it is going to go up. Maybe he can get some early damage down on it. No, but he might just stay and siege that down anyway. 5 war dogs coming out. Oh my God. See this, the war dogs. If you want to know the difference between a good Spanish player and a bad one, it's the use of war dogs. I feel like a lot of newbies do not use war dogs. They are so good. They are excellent snare units. Their hand damage for their price is actually not terrible. And now look at this. The army is converging. The rods, the war dogs, and the hussars. None of these are that good against veteran halves, but together, let's go! Spanish Army unite, and the War Dogs putting in major work. They definitely deserve some dog treats. That is, if they survive. I think they all might die. Oh no. Fido, Bingo, Spot. Oh God, they're all dead. Oh, a K9 massacre. Minutemen now coming out, and it looks like this push is going to hold, though he did manage to kill all 8 of the halberdiers. He saved his barracks, and he's continuing to put some pressure down with these 8 pikes. And market finally going down here for Swisher, but this is a bit of an awkward place for Swisher to be in. He's gone so naked with the FI, and I think he was expecting little to no H2 pressure, and the hussars and the pikes really threw him off. I think he was just kind of expecting Spain to FF, and maybe he thought he could FI in the time that it took for Spain to develop some sort of push. But Grogu playing this really well, getting out some early H2 units, not going full H2, but getting out just enough to be problematic. The 8 pikes now are going to go down. They did kill the house and the TP. So I would say, let's see. 700 resources for a TP and a house and some bell time. It's about an even cut. Maybe not quite as valuable as they could have been, but still well done. And it also forced Swisher to send these 5 Dragoons all the way to this back town center, which is probably not what he wanted to do. He probably wanted them over here. But Dragoons being a very mobile unit and going to pick off a couple of these Hussars as well. Some Musketeers coming to save the day. And Grogu, he's got to be getting into H3 sometime soon. Maybe he's... Okay, there it is. I was wondering if he was going to actually sit in H2 too long, because I was just praising him for the pressure. But if he waits too long and allows a decent mass of Cassadors and organ guns to come out, Swisher will just be able to run him around and kite him infinitely. And speaking of organ guns, I think I just saw them pop out. Yes, they are coming from the back town center. They are being reinforced by a handful of goons. I wouldn't push yet. Maybe he sees these forward vills. Does Swisher spot it? Yes, he does see the hunt. So this is going to be some good raiding that Portuguese can do here. He's got to somehow negate the villager advantage. It's currently 29 for Spain and only 19 for Portugal, but he kills a couple of musks there. He drives those villagers off that hunt. Very nice job by him. And there's like 5 or 6 villagers there. So that is not an insignificant amount. And these rods and H2 Huss and musketeers are going to be able to do nothing. And oh my God, a villager going down. Almost another one being added to the tally. 11 HP left. And is the explorer going to pick it off? Ooh, not quite. That was so close. That explorer survived with what? 6 HP. Oh man. What a brave little warrior she is. Way to go. Way to go, Cassandra. I don't know why I named her Cassandra. But still 5 goons on the map along with the 3 organ guns. And that was a nice little push by Swisher. But now Grogu getting into H3 himself. He's going to have access to the 2 falconets, which if microed well, will be able to end this organ gun threat. And the one thing he doesn't have is the 8 skirms, right? I always mention this when I'm watching Spain play, but the fact that Spain doesn't have the 8 skirm shipment to deal with early goons, it does make their H3 transition a bit slower, but of course they do have the annoying rods and they do have the MVP war dogs, and there's 2 mixed in with the army. We're going to call this one Pablo, and this one is called Margarita. Oh my God. Oh, are they a couple? I don't know. I mean, Margarita feels like a female name. Aww. They're like the army mascots. All right, boys. 8 crossbows coming out from the age up for Grogu. And I don't know. I feel like Spain is stabilizing well here. Portugal, just because of their economy with how much time they spent belled up in their town center, yes, they do now have the villager lead, but the economy is still not strong. The resources are still not flowing in that quickly. 7 halberdiers on the way as well. And I almost wonder, would it be good for Swisher to just slam down a fort here and basically make this part of the map impenetrable? I almost wonder if that would be a good idea, but now the 2 Falcons are out. We have, not veteran rods. We have Hussars on the way, along with some crossbow reinforcements and some muskets to deal with the Dragoons, and the veteran Hussar upgrade did just come in. The Dragoons are going to try to do as much damage as they can, followed by the Halberdiers, but there's enough ranged infantry here to ward off the Dragoons. 1 going down, 180 resource units. You cannot throw those away, especially for the position that Portugal is currently in. Tries to get a bit of snaring on those Falcons, a little bit of peppering damage, but it's not going to be that effective. Minutemen going down, maybe not the best for Hussars to be fighting full HP Minutemen, but out of all the units he could pull, and now the War Dog spawn is going to take out the organ guns. Oh my God, we have Piñata, we have Mariposa, and we have Reynosa, and they are going to kill those organ guns dead. Did I not tell you guys that the difference between a good Spanish player and a great Spanish player is the use of the War Dogs? Only 75 food. They are dirt cheap. And if your opponent is not expecting those units to pop out, they can win the fight just like Spain just did. Now, 1 Falconet did go down, but at the cost of 3 organ guns and a handful of goons and the halberdiers. That is a trade he will take all day. He's also going to take out one of these town centers, which is going to negate the villager advantage that Portugal is going to be able to garner here. Finally, some skirmishers coming out. This is exactly what he needs. He needs something to keep these Dragoons honest, and the musketeers and the crossbows were just not doing it. So if he can get out another batch of Dragoons, Placer Mine's finally coming in, so it looks like he didn't end up getting that upgrade early. And now we're seeing the 2nd town center, but a villager pull coming from Swisher. And are these guys going to be able to break through? The War Dogs doing their job, attacking the villagers, but that Falconet is going to go down. The price that he's going to pay in villagers is going to depend on how well Grogu can micro the rest of his units. A lot of Spanish units going down here, along with the 8 Castadors popping out. And this was a very nice timing here by Grogu. He is going to save that 2nd town center, but at the cost of many villagers. Skirms here doing a nice job focusing down the Dragoons, but the Spanish army is going to fall. Now, the one good thing here for Grogu is those were a lot of expendable age 3 units that he could afford to lose, and he is now at 34 vills to 33 from Portugal. So he has negated the vill advantage, and now that Portugal only has 2 town centers, yes, he will be able to get ahead, but it will take him much longer. And yes, there were a lot of Spanish units that died there, but I still think Absolute win there for Grogu. Still a great play by Grogu, or excuse me, Swisher. I think a Vil pull was necessary there. And oh my god, the Caçadors are gonna get caught by 5 veteran Hussar reinforcements. And look at this, the skirmishers expertly taking out the remaining goons. There are some Hussars from Portugal, but they do not have the veterancy upgrade, and with the rods, they won't be able to do much. And now these villagers are going to have to pay the toll, 1 going down. And I love this micro here from Grogu, pulling just 1 Hussar away to attack that mine while the rest of his army gets engaged, and the annoyance of the rods coming in once again. And yes, they are only age 2 rods at this point. They don't have the veterancy upgrade, but they still have that 3.5 times damage modifier against cavalry. And now it looks like Swisher is caught between a rock and a hard place, and he hits the resign button. And a great win for Grogu in that Iberian matchup. I am sweating. Oh my god, that dog pull followed by the Vil pull. Oh, dude, like that is just, you know, when I'm watching high level play, I think the thing that makes me the most excited is when high level players like these guys, I mean, and these guys are like top 100, right? Is when they use the unorthodox units in their arsenal to still be a value militarily. Like guys at my level, 1400, 1300, 1500 even, they just don't think to do that stuff because you're so focused on not losing Vils that you don't realize how useful they can be. And you're so focused on making military units that you don't realize that those age 1 units like dogs or envoys or native scouts, they can still be useful because they are so cheap. And against certain units, they are so cost effective. So I loved that from both sides. A quick match, but an exciting one. Let's take a couple more looks at it. Follow me to the post game. All right, guys, here we are in the post game, and it's going to be a short wrap up. A resource advantage for Grogu, and I really think that comes down to how much time the Portuguese villagers rebelled up, both with the early Hussar raids and the pikes, and then the push on those 2 town centers. Now, I almost wonder what would have happened if Swisher had brought out an early fort. I know a lot of top level players don't like to do that because it ruins your tempo with units, but I mean, if there had been even a half damaged fort along with those 2 town centers, there's no way that Spanish push would have been able to do as much damage as it did. But woulda, shoulda, coulda. Let's take a look at the militaries. Oh, wow. A huge advantage for Grogu. Now, most of these were expendable age 2 units, so it's not as lopsided as it looks. And when we look at the units lost, it's a lot more even. So certainly well played by Swisher there in parts. He had a couple of good raids, good use of his organ guns to push those villagers off the hunt. But it was really, you know, that push with the dogs that lost him his organs, and then those 5 reinforcing Hussars. And that's the thing I love about high-level games. Again, just quick moments can decide the whole match. And when you play at high level, like the guys that are playing in the ESOC tournament, which is going on right now, you know, you can't even afford to make small, minor mistakes, because when you're playing opponents at this level, they will capitalize almost every time. But I hope you guys enjoyed that match. I will be back with another one, a potential game of the year, if I'm being told the correct information. That'll be next week. But until then, have a great day, have a great life. See you later.